Hello students, how are you today? I hope you are all doing great. This is Teacher Ann, and today we will be discussing about comparing fractions. To start, let us recall our previous lesson about comparing like fractions. For number 1, let us compare 2 out of 5 and 4 out of 5. So since they have the same denominator already, we will just compare the numerators. So we can say that 2 is smaller than 4. So 2 out of 5 is smaller than 4 out of 5. So in symbol, we write like this. Next, for letter B, 3 and 1 out of 3 and 8 out of 3. So let us compare the following numbers. So here, the other number is a mixed number and the other one is an improper fraction. Now let us change the improper fraction into mixed number. So 8 divided by 3 is equal to 2 and 2 out of 3. By looking at the whole number part, we can easily compare the numbers. 3 is greater than 2. So 3 and 1 out of 3 is greater than 2 and 2 out of 3. Therefore, 3 and 1 out of 3 is greater than 8 out of 3. So in symbol, we write like this. Next, let us have letter C. 13 out of 6 and 2 and 5 out of 6. So let us compare the following numbers. So again, this is improper fraction and the other one is a mixed number. So for us to easily compare the numbers, let us change the improper fraction into mixed number. So 13 divided by 6 is equal to 2 and 1 out of 6. Now that they have the same denominator and they are now both in fraction, let us look at their numerator part. So 1 and 5. 1 is smaller than 5. So we can say that 2 and 1 out of 6 is smaller than 2 and 5 out of 6. Therefore, 13 out of 6 is smaller than 2 and 5 out of 6. Very good. So in symbol, we write like this. Now let me introduce to you the vocabulary words that you should learn and understand in this lesson. So we have compare, fraction, common multiple, and the last one, common denominator. Let us now proceed to our discussion. So for number 1, let us compare 2 out of 5 and 1 out of 3. So between the two fractions, which is greater? As you can see, their denominators are different. So we need to get first the first common multiple of the given denominators. So the multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, so on and so forth. The multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, so on and so forth. And the first common multiple of 5 and 3 is 15. It means the common denominator of 2 out of 5 and 3 and 1 out of 3 must be 15. So to make their denominators equal to 15, we need to multiply 2 out of 5 by 3 out of 3. And the answer will be 6 out of 15. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 3 is 15. So 2 out of 5 is equal to 6 out of 15. Then 1/3 must be multiplied by 5 out of 5 to have a denominator of 15. So 1 times 5 is equals to 5. 3 times 5 is equal to 15. 1/3 is equal to 5 out of 15. Now that they have the same denominator, we can now easily compare the fractions. 6 out of 15 is greater than 5 out of 15. So 2 out of 5 is greater than 1 out of 3. In symbol, we write like this. Next, let us have another example. Example number 2, compare 1 and 2 out of 3 and 1 and 3 out of 4, or 1 and 3/4. So between the two mixed numbers, which is greater? So as you can see, the denominators are not the same, so we need to get their common multiple. So the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, so on and so forth. The multiples of 4 is or are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, so on and so forth. The first common multiple of 3 and 4 is 12. So it means the common denominator of 2 out of 3 and 3 out of 4 must be 12. So in this example, we can use two different methods in order to find which is greater. So for method 1, we can use this by comparing using mixed numbers with common denominators. Okay, so again, their first common multiple is 12, so their denominator must be 12. So we need to multiply 2 out of 3 by 4 out of 4. So this is numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So 2 times 4 is equals to 8, and 3 times 4 is equals to 12. So let us just copy the whole number part. Next, 3 out of 4 must be multiplied by 3 out of 3 to get a denominator of 12. So 3 times 3 is equals to 9. 4 times 3 is equals to 12. Again, let us just copy the whole number part. Okay. So as you can see, 1 and 2 out of 3 is equal to 1 and 8 out of 12. 1 and 3/4 is equal to 1 and 9 out of 12. Now that they have the same denominator, we can now easily compare the mixed numbers. 1 and 9 out of 12 is greater than 1 and 8 out of 12. So therefore, 1 and 3/4 or 1 and 3 out of 4 is greater than 1 and 2 out of 3. So in symbol, we write this way. Can you follow? All right. Now let us have method number 2. So we can compare using improper fractions with common denominators. So here we need to change the mixed number into improper fractions. So 1 and 2 out of 3 is equals to 5 out of 3. So how did we get 5 out of 3? 3 times 1 plus 2 is equals to 5, and copy the same denominator. Okay, next, 1 and 3/4 is equal to 7 out of 4. So how did we get 7 out of 4? 4 times 1 plus 3 is equals to 7. And then just copy the same denominator. So again, their common denominator must be 12, so we need to multiply 5 out of 3 by 4 out of 4 to get a denominator of 12. So 5 times 4 is equals to 20, and 3 times 4 is equals to 12. One and 2 out of 3 is equals to 20 out of 12. Next. So here we need to multiply 7 out of 4 by 3 out of 3 to get a denominator of 12. So 7 times 3 is equals to 21. 4 times 3 is equals to 12. So 1 and 3/4 is equal to 21 out of 12. So as you can see, we now have the same denominator, and it will be easy for us to compare the following improper fractions. So 21 out of 12 is greater than 20 out of 12. So therefore, 1 and 3/4 or 1 and 3 out of 4 is greater than 1 and 2 out of 3. So in symbol, we write like this. Is it clear? Okay. Now let's move on. So our third example is compare 6 out of 4 and 7 out of 5. Which is smaller? So their denominators are not the same, and we know that 20 is the first common multiple of the denominators 4 and 5. So the denominators of 4 again are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And the multiples of 4. And then the multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20. That's why their first common multiple is 20. So meaning their denominators must be 20. So we need to multiply 6 out of 4 by 5 out of 5 to get a denominator of 20. So 6 times 5 is equals to 30. 4 times 5 is equals to 20. So 6 out of 4 is equal to 30 out of 20. Next, 7 out of 5 must be multiplied by 4 out of 4 to get a denominator of 20. So 7 times 4 is 28. 5 times 4 is 20. 7 out of 5 is equal to 28 out of 20. So now that they have the same denominator, let us now compare. 28 out of 20 is smaller than 30 out of 20. So 7 out of 5 is smaller than 6 out of 4. So in symbol, we write like this. Next, let us have another example. Example number 4, compare 1 and 2 out of 3 and 9 out of 6. Which is greater? So again, we can use two different methods. So let us use first method 1. So method 1 is compare using improper fractions with common denominators. So we will be using improper fraction. So 1 and 2 out of 3 is equals to 5 out of 3. So again, how did we get 5 out of 3? 3 times 1 plus 2 is 5, then copy the given denominator. Okay. Then next. So 6 is the first common multiple of the denominators 3 and 6. So meaning they must have a denominator of 6. So we need to multiply 5 out of 3 by 2 out of 2. So 5 times 2 is equals to 10. 3 times 2 is equals to 6. So 1 and 2 out of 3 is equals to 10 out of 6. Now we have the same denominator, 10 out of 6 and 9 out of 6. 10 out of 6 is greater than 9 out of 6. So 1 and 2 out of 3 is greater than 9 out of 6. So in symbol, this is how do we write it. So by looking at the fraction disk, we can see that 1 and 2 out of 3 is greater than 9 out of 6. So this 1 represents the whole part. Now let us use method number 2. So method number 2 is we can compare using mixed numbers with common denominators. This time we need to change the we need to change the improper fraction into mixed number. So 9 out of 6 is equals to 1 and 3 out of 6. Again, 6 is the first common multiple of the denominators 3 and 6. So we need to multiply 2 out of 3 by 2 out of 2 to get a denominator of 6. So 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6. Then copy the same whole number part. Now we can easily compare the mixed numbers. So 1 and 2 out of 3 is equal to 1 and 4 out of 6. One and 4 out of 6 is greater than 1 and 3 out of 6. So 1 and 2 out of 3 is greater than 9 out of 6. So in symbol, we just write 1, 2 out of 3 is greater than 9 out of 6. Since you have understood our lesson, let us now have a practice. For your practice, compare and circle the improper fraction which is smaller. So for letter A, between the two improper fractions, which is the smaller? Is it 18 out of 5 or 14 out of 3? What is your answer? All right. And how did you get it? Okay, so let us use method number 2. So here, we change the improper fraction into mixed number. So 18 out of 5 is equals to 3 and 3 out of 5. 14 out of 3 is equals to 4 and 2 out of 3. By simply looking at the whole number part, we can easily say which number is smaller. And we all know that 3 is smaller than 4. So 3 and 3 out of 5 is smaller than 4 and 2 out of 3. So therefore, 18 out of 5 is smaller than 14 out of 3. Very good. Next, let us have letter B. 13 out of 8 and 10 out of 7. So between the two improper fractions, which is smaller? Your answer is, all right. So how did you get it? Okay, so this time we're going to use method 1. So their first common multiple is 56. Okay, so to get a denominator of 56, we need to multiply 18 out of 3 by 7 out of 7. So 13 times 7 is equals to 91. 8 times 7 is equals to 56. Then here, we need to multiply 10 out of 7 by 8 out of 8. And 10 times 8 is equals to 80, and 7 times 8 is equals to 56. Now the denominators are the same. So let us compare. 80 out of 56 is smaller than 91 out of 56. So 10 out of 7 is smaller than 13 out of 8. Next, for number 2, compare the mixed numbers or improper fractions. Which is greater? This time, we need to find out which fraction or improper fraction is greater. So between 10 out of 4 and 2 and 1 out of 6, which is greater? What is your answer? All right. Can you show me how did you get it? Okay, so here we change improper fraction into mixed number. And 10 out of 4 is equal to 2 and 2 out of 4. And its lowest term is 2 and 1 out of 2. So the first common multiple of 2 and 6 is 6. So we need to multiply 2 and 1 half by 3 out of 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Then let us just copy the same whole number part. Okay, now the denominators are the same. Let us compare. 2 and 3 out of 6 is greater than 2 and 1 out of 6. So 10 out of 4 is greater than 2 and 1 out of 6. Very good. What about for letter B? Which is greater? Is it 1 and 1/4 or 16 out of 3? What is the answer? All right, so how did you get it? So here, we change the improper fraction into mixed number. And 16 out of 3 is equal to 5 and 1 out of 3. So by simply looking at the whole number part, we can easily find which one is greater. And we all know that 5 is greater than 1. So 5 and 1 out of 3 is greater than 1 and 1/4. So therefore, 16 out of 3 is greater than 1 and 1/4. Very good. Now that you have understood our lesson, This will be your homework. Answer the exercise on pages 7 to 8 of your book. But since you doesn't have book yet, here it is. So for number 1, which is the smaller fraction? You need to show your solution. So you can answer it in your notebook. For number 2, which fraction is greater? So that will be all for today. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.